Be my eyes.
Be my eyes.
Be my eyes. Be my eyes.
Be my eyes. Be my eyes.
We're all familiar with its basic functions.
Be My Eyes is an app for blind people where you can get assistance. You just have to push the Call a Volunteer button and we will find a sighted volunteer, and then you can point your phone at something and the volunteer can tell you what it is.
It's the largest digital volunteer organization that humanity has ever seen.
But there's a brand new feature, the likes of which we haven't seen before.
It's remarkable. It is a visual interpretation tool that so far exceeds anything else we've seen in the marketplace that it's potentially societally altering.
Chat GPT.
Taking a picture of the contents of your refrigerator, it not only tells you what's in there, but it then goes the next step and tells you what you can make for dinner based on those ingredients.
The virtual assistant.
You have sort of a personal AI digital assistant for life independence. I'm not just talking about taking pictures and having image recognition. I'm talking about shopping, booking travel, navigation.
It is one of the very few times where the blind community is at the very, very forefront of this development. And I think that that's just an amazing experience.
Hello, everybody. My name is Pete Lane. Welcome to Blind Abilities. Today we have a couple of special guests with us in the Blind Abilities studio. Hans Wiberg is the founder, the creator of the Be My Eyes app way back in 2015. Hans, why don't you get us started by giving us a brief overview of Be My Eyes and tell us about your partner who's here with us today.
First of all, Be My Eyes is an app for blind people, and it is an app where you can get visually assistance. It's absolutely free. You just have to download the app and sign up, and then you can push the Call a Volunteer button, and then we will find a sighted volunteer who will look through the camera on your phone, and then you can point your phone at something, and the volunteer can tell you what it is. That is a very short version of Be My Eyes, and Mike is my CEO, and I'm so happy about it. He is also an investor in Be My Eyes and has brought a lot of energy into the company, and that's absolutely wonderful. But I think it would be better if, Mike, you kind of introduce yourself so I don't say anything wrong. So.
First of all, Pete, thanks so much for having us. I really appreciate it. You know, I've worked in technology for a very long time. I worked at Twilio, I worked at Facebook, I was a consultant. I think the brilliance of what Hans did with Be My Eyes is he figured out a way to merge technology and human kindness to solve an accessibility problem. And it's a beautiful thing. It works in 150 countries, in 180 languages. If you talk to the people who are blind and low vision who are using the app, they talk about it as a seamless experience. Over 90% of our calls are successful. And when you talk to the volunteers that supply these calls, they talk about it as the best day of their week. Right? And it's a moment of joy for them. We had an interaction the other day where a woman was telling me about where she just helped someone with the directions on a cake. And it was I guess a quick cook, like 18 minutes or something like that. And the volunteer said, "Do you want to just kind of hang out and talk while you make the cake?" The person said, "Sure." And they basically just chatted and made the cake together. And it's this beautiful thing. And again, to Hans's credit, you know, he's not just the founder of Be My Eyes. And obviously he's brilliant, but he also works on the business every single day. He works on the product. He works on our community and relations. Like if anybody does anything we don't want on the platform, Hans is the policeman, like literally. And he's also kind of our moral compass. You know, Be My Eyes is free because of Hans, right? Be My Eyes will continue to be free because of Hans. I'm very humbled and I couldn't be more proud to work with him every single day.
Well, that's great to hear, Mike. Good testimonial about Hans. And speaking of testimonials from volunteers and from users, they are all over the internet. And it seems like every time I turn on a podcast or a YouTube video or some sort of other social media feedback that I receive regarding the Be My Eyes experience, it's a warm one, as you've just described. The volunteers love it, and the users find it to be very fulfilling and satisfying as well, whatever their task may be. I've heard Hans referred to as the spiritual leader of Be My Eyes. Hans, what do you have to say about that characterization?
No. It is, of course. I mean, when we developed the app way back in 2013 and 14, we simply had a office in the Center for Blind People in Copenhagen because we felt it was so important to have a lot of different blind people that we could kind of pull in and have them try out and ask them about how do you sign in and all that. So, and of course, I'm not totally blind, and it makes a lot of difference if you can see a little bit or if you are using voiceover and so on. And we needed to have this to work for everybody. So I'm not the only blind person who has kind of have influence on this, but of course, I am the one who sticks with the company all the time. I see my role as being the blind guy, so everybody really remembers why we are here, what we're doing. And I have a great team, so I don't have to do that very often. But of course, it is important that a blind person or two around in the daily life of a company like Be My Eyes.
Give me the numbers, if you don't mind, Hans. What's your volunteer population up to now? Every time I open the app, it seems to be a different number, increasing every day, it seems like. And what's your user base right now?
Well, I think we are close to 500,000 blind and low vision people signed up and 6.3 million volunteers globally. And that is, I'm from Denmark, and we are 6 million people in Denmark. So this is not important to anyone. But it is kind of amazing that we have more volunteers than we have citizens in my country.
No kidding.
Yeah, Pete, think about it this way also. That number is 6.3 million. We're pretty sure it's the largest digital volunteer organization that humanity has ever seen. It's a pretty stunning number when you think about it. People who have just said yes out of kindness and out of willingness to do something for someone else. I'm on board. I'm ready to take a call. And let me ask you a question, Pete. I'm sure you've used Be My Eyes at some point yourself. What do you think is the biggest complaint we get from our volunteers?
Not getting a call frequently
You got
enough.
it, right? Because you see the math, right? 500,000, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Look at the ratio, 6 million to 500,000.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, when I was preparing for this interview, I mentioned this to a sighted friend of mine, and she said, well, gosh, I'd love to be a volunteer. So I sent her the app, and she's probably signed up by now. But she was eager to do so and wanted to do so regularly.
But it's also, I mean, we have not spent any money on marketing. So it has been driven by volunteers sharing their experience on Facebook and Twitter and so on, as you mentioned in the beginning. And that is how we have spread from country to country and from language to language. I mean, I don't speak Japanese and I don't know anybody who does, but we have a huge community in Japan and in any other country. And that is only because that people are connected via social media. And of course, we have been giving interviews a lot lately, but also over the years. So it's really because people really want to do this. Absolutely.
Of course. Absolutely. Well, speaking of lately, there is a new feature available, or at least soon to be available for the public, currently in a beta form. And this is the association, the partnership that the Be My Eyes team has established with the Chat GPT team, specifically with the iteration of Chat GPT version 4. Tell us a little bit about that, Mike. How's that working for you guys so far? And how can we become beta testers and help you along with that?
Well, first of all, Pete, let's get you in the beta test program right after we have this discussion. I want to make sure you get a chance to play with it. First of all, anybody can get on the beta test waiting list just by downloading the app, clicking a little box, and we'll add you to that. The genesis of this really came about in early February. We had been talking with Open AI for a while about doing some things together on accessibility. And then in February 1st or 2nd, I can't remember the exact date, they called me and said, hey, Mike, can you keep a secret? And I said, I think so. Do I need to sign an NDA or whatever? And they said, no, we're not worried about the paperwork. We just want to know if you can keep a secret and we can partner with you on something. And I said, sure. And they told us about the technology and they started to let us play with it. And it's remarkable. It is a visual interpretation tool that so far exceeds anything else we've seen in the marketplace that it's potentially societally altering. What makes it different? One, the visual recognition is just superior. There are wonderful tools on the market. I'd love the Seeing AI product. I think Envision has good information. Obviously, Google has a good product. But those products are good, but often not great. This product is great in terms of its ability to recognize visual images and tell you what they are. So that's the first thing. The second advantage is there's this added contextual layer of what it has. And so taking a picture of the contents of your refrigerator, it not only tells you what's in there, but it then goes the next step and tells you what you can make for dinner based on those ingredients there. And if you want, it can give you a recipe for doing so. That depth of contextual understanding is just a remarkable feature. Third, You can talk with it. So if I have the picture of my fridge, if you say, hey, what can I make that's low fat? Or what can I make that's high calcium? Or whatever, and it can literally answer those things in a conversational fashion. It's a remarkable thing. And then, of course, the fourth thing that we've built on top is a rollover mechanism to our volunteer community. So if the tool is incapable of answering a question, or you're not satisfied with the answer it gives, you'll be given the option to call a sighted volunteer, much the way our traditional app works. All I can say, Pete, is that, Hans and I have had this discussion a lot. We are very, very wary of hyperbole and over-promising and under-delivering with respect to artificial intelligence. But what I can say is our beta testers who have used it have used phrases like life-changing.
I'm blind and I found this Chanel catwalk book. As you guys know, I am obsessed with fashion and makeup. So I want to know what's inside this, and I'm going to get Be My Eyes AI virtual volunteer to tell me what's inside the pages. Let's see if it can do it.
Lucy Edwards literally told us, I feel like I've gotten my independence back.
Yep.
And these are other people's words. We don't want to chest thump about this, right? Even though we're incredibly excited, but the feedback we've received thus far has been overwhelmingly positive.
I've seen the Lucy Edwards video where she's looking at a fashion magazine.
I'm going to open it to a random page.
Add picture button.
I'm going to take a few.
Take picture. Add picture.
Then maybe
Take
here.
picture. Take picture.
She'll take a couple of snapshots of dresses.
Right question here. Dictate.
What is the model wearing on this page?
Ask question. Virtual volunteer. Hi there. In the first image, there are 3 models wearing a white dress, a black and silver outfit.
And ask for feedback from the AI assistant.
Would you like me to describe any of the outfits in more detail?
Ooh, yes I would.
Reply.
Yes, the first outfit in more detail.
Ask question. Virtual volunteer. Sure. The first outfit in the first image appears to be a white dress with a high neckline and long sleeves. It has a layered skirt with a scalloped hem and is accessorized with a long pearl necklace and earrings. Is there anything else you would like me to describe in more detail?
I'm crying. Oh my god, I've always dreamed of buying books like this.
I think she's crying at the end, is she not?
Yeah, it looks like that.
Life-changing is an apt description. So yeah, that's remarkable. Do you expect that the addition of the virtual assistant will further reduce the frequency of calls for your volunteers?
I really don't think so, because we have noticed that, of course, we do have many people who are using Be My Eyes a lot, but we also have a group of people who make very few calls. And when we ask them, they say, but I don't really feel comfortable calling a human being and so on. So I only use it when I really have to or something like that. And I think that group will absolutely love this new feature. But I also know for certain that we have some other users that will never talk to a computer. They want to talk to a real human being. And I totally get that. So I think we will simply serve more people. And to be honest, I don't think we will get fewer calls, because I think more people will kind of know about Be My Eyes and try it out and find out that, yeah, this AI thing is good for something. There's times I need to talk to a real human being. Because it is a photo. It's not kind of describing a live video stream. So you have to take a photo, and that's perfectly fine sometimes. But other times it can be more convenient if the volunteer can say, okay, please move the camera a little around or something. So there will be plenty of use cases for both. We love our volunteers and we need them still.
Yeah, it's 2 pieces of context there, Pete. We've had over 20,000 new signups since we launched Virtual Volunteers. So we think the community will grow and that will result in more calls. But second is, even if you disrupt your own model as a business or any entity, you have to be responsive to the needs and asks of your community, right? And as Hans said, there's just some people who don't want to make a call. We did a survey of our community, and the top 4 reasons of not wanting to make a call were: 1, I don't want to take a volunteer from someone who might need them more. So we've done a lousy job, Pete, of communicating that ratio of 6 million to 500,000. Right. Second, I have discomfort with calling a stranger or a paid agent, right? Third, is it available 24/7? What if I call it an odd hour?
Don't want to wake them up.
And then, exactly. And then the fourth is feeling a loss of independence. So this product really speaks to all of those issues. It's a direct response to the feedback and needs of our community. And we're committed to kind of building it and iterating on it with their direct input. You know, our board member, Brian Bashan, who is head of the San Francisco Lighthouse from the Blind, said, you know what, Mike, you have to build this product with the direct involvement of the community and make sure they can bend the technology to service their needs.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
And I love that phrase, bending the technology to service their needs, right? I think about that comment every day. That's why we're so excited that we have this robust feedback group from our beta testers who are active and opinionated, and it's been fantastic.
Well, let's focus in again on beta testing. And I did see at the bottom of the app, there is a button to push if you are interested in joining the ranks of the beta testers. Is that all it takes?
That is all it takes.
Makes it very, very simple to do so. So those of you who are using the app, you'll see it at the bottom. Just perform your one finger double tap if you're using VoiceOver on an iPhone or the equivalent for your Android phone, and you can jump right in. So do you have any feel, Mike or Hans, what time frame we're looking at before this thing becomes ready for prime time and available for public use?
I can't make any promises there yet. And Hans and I talk about this all the time. We're really anxious to get this in the hands of the community. However, we want to be thoughtful. We want to be slow. We want to be cautious and make sure that we're prioritizing safety.
Definitely.
Right?
Yes.
We've said to our beta testers, look, this is a beta. Be smart, be cautious, be safe.
Yes.
This doesn't replace a white cane. This doesn't replace a guide dog. Test it and iterate on it slowly. And so really the answer to when we roll it out more broadly is going to be based on the data and what our beta testers tell us about their experience, because it's really cool and it's a remarkable thing, but safety is more important than any of that.
Good point.
The really smart thing about this is that it kind of knows how sure it is about something. So we have built in, if the AI is less than 95% sure, then it will automatically ask you to call a volunteer if you want to be 100% sure. And that is something we can do because we have all those volunteers. And it is built into the system that it will prompt you to not do anything that the AI is not completely sure about.
That's fascinating. It knows what it doesn't know.
I've tried to break it. I took a shot of an Amazon shopping page and asked it to say what was on the page. And my first 3 or 4 tests, it was perfect. And it correctly identified the things. And one test, I didn't have the word toasters up at the top of the page. I had cut that off somehow. And it said, oh, yes, these are slow cookers. The prices range from $29 to $59. And I said, are you sure? Aren't they toasters? And it said, I'm 95% sure they're slow cookers, but do you want to So that was the only time that it got something wrong. We've got to be honest here. You know, it's not going to be perfect in the near term. Will it get better and better? Probably quickly, for sure. But, you know, we got to be really thoughtful about this and understand not only the possibilities, but also the practical limitations in the near term.
Good point. Well, I find it absolutely fascinating and truly remarkable that the folks at Open AI came to you guys as one of their first endeavors in terms of partnering and testing this new AI feature in a real-life application. I think we should be excited as a blindness community that we're in the limelight and we're at the cutting edge of this new technological wave, complete tidal wave. Every time I turn on a TV or a radio or a news show, they're talking about AI. They're talking about Open AI specifically and Chat GPT. So congratulations to you for bringing the blindness community into the limelight. We really appreciate that. It's an exciting time.
It is, and thank you for that, Pete. And I do want to give credit to OpenAI also. There were no stumbling blocks in our discussion about doing this together, although, you know, we had the first call. And then when I called back to them, I said, there's one thing that we need and that we're going to be demanding about. And they said, what's that? And they said, well, our service is free. And are you willing to provide this tool and this technology for free to our community of users? And it took them about 3 seconds to say yes. Cool. It speaks volumes, right? It gave us a great deal of comfort. Yeah. And so we couldn't be more excited.
That's a really good point. Well, that's wonderful information. Is there anything else that either one of you would like to convey to our listeners?
We have touched on it a little bit, but I think it's maybe not the first time, but it is one of the very few times where the blind community is at the very, very forefront of this development. And I think that that's just an amazing experience to have. It was so funny. Last week, I was interviewed by a journalist and we told him about it. And then he said, oh, I would like to become a beta tester. Then I could say to him, okay, if you're not blind, you can forget about it. I've been wanting to say that for a long time. So the fact that we do have time to do this in a good manner is so exciting. And we're just looking forward to the results.
That's really cool. That is.
Yeah. The only thing I'd say, Pete, is think about a future where you have sort of a personal AI digital assistant for life independence. I'm not just talking about taking pictures and having image recognition. I'm talking about shopping, booking travel, navigation. I think that's where this goes. I don't know how quickly it goes there, but I think over time, Look, our mission is to increase and make the world more accessible for the 253 million people who are blind and low vision globally, right? That's why we're here. It's what we're doing. And I'm so excited about a potential in a future where you may have a piece of technology or an assistant. It probably ends up in a wearable, right, Pete?
Very possibly.
Of some kind, where the amount of independence and power that the person who's blind or low vision gets increases exponentially. And that's the future that we want. So that's the first thing. The second thing I'd say is please sign up. Sign up to do this. When you get into the program, your feedback is going to shape how this technology ends up being built. And so we need as many voices as possible.
And what I'm really, really excited about for the future is that I believe that this will be super, super easy to use. And I know that most of the low vision people, at least, they are elderly people, and some of them have not the easiest walk through technology. But I am certain that AI will make it a lot easier to navigate even your phone and your computer. And I'm really excited about how easy we hopefully can make this, maybe not this year, but next year or something like that. I think we're going to see some major development in how easy it will be to do something also online and all that. So that's going to be super exciting.
Well said, both of you. Jeff and I spoke about this before. Incidentally, for those listeners who are wondering where Jeff Thompson is, he was unable to join us today. He had a prior family commitment that he could not avoid, although he wanted to be here. But he and I feel the excitement, and clearly it's contagious. We catch the waves of excitement from both of you and would like to encourage anyone listening, anyone who has the app, to go ahead and sign up, tap on the button to become a beta tester. Those of you who do not have the Be My Eyes app, it's in the Apple App Store as well as in the Google Play Store. Just go over there. It's a free download. And we haven't even touched on some of the existing features, such as those services that are available from your companies and your partnerships, as well as from the live volunteers that we've spoken about here. So all kinds of great services available, all for free. I do have a question for you, Hans. Jeff mentioned to me something about you owing him an ale. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
What's that about?
I have it sitting here for 4 years on the shelf. He can come and get it.
How tasty.
No, that's right. I own him a beer, and I will absolutely, first time I meet him, I will be more than happy to give it to him, because he has been very, very helpful and supporting Be My Eyes all the way through. So that's absolutely deserved, and I'm looking forward to meeting him.
Yes, and I know that he's committed to a great relationship with you and your product. I've worked with Jeff for 7 years now. Unfortunately, I've not had the honor of speaking with you and your team thus far, but it's great to talk to both of you today. Mike, I want to point out to our listening audience that not only are we talking to the new CEO of Be My Eyes, but we're talking to a world-famous artist who is the lead singer and guitar player for the Love Handles. How were you described? I saw you described as a San Francisco Bay Area dad band. Is that an apt description for your band?
That is how the band started, yes. And for those listening who are confused, there is no world fame here of any kind. But yeah, it's, a bunch of dads were waiting to pick up sons and daughters at school one day. And everybody was talking about, I used to play this and I used to play that. And then we became a garage band. And now there are 11 people in the band. And it's
That's
therapy.
Wonderful. I've been browsing your stuff on YouTube, and you have some good stuff, and you do some good singing and some good picking. I will live vicariously through the Love Handles.
Unfortunately, it's become a bit of a literal name for me, but we don't need to get into that.
Well, once again, Hans and Mike Buckley, new CEO of Be My Eyes, thank you so much for joining me on Blind Abilities. Best of luck to you down the road, and I know Jeff will be catching up with you soon again. Look forward to seeing how this thing progresses. You guys have a great day.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Special thanks to Hans Wiberg and Mike Buckley for joining me in the Blind Abilities studio today. You can find out much more information about the Be My Eyes app, including the new virtual assistant feature, on their website. That's www.bemyeyes.com. And of course, for more podcasts with a blindness perspective, check out our website. That's www.blindabilities.com. Very special thanks to Chi Chow for his wonderful music today. And as usual, thanks to all of you for listening, and have a great day.
When we share
what we see
through each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap
between the limited expectations and the reality of blind abilities.
And the realities of blind abilities.